Brand new class. We're going to start Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so before we start, I just want to make sure that you have this node. I believe I give you this node. If you don't, let me know. I will give you at the end of the class too. You see, you need this node. This is a long node. It's a huge node, but don't worry, if you see this, like, I think it's around 50 pages or more than 50 pages. But this is our end-to-end node that will cover all of our automation that we're going to do, all the topics. Okay, and we'll do one by one. So just be with me, and do the practice as I said, and read the notes, watch the videos. It's gonna be help. It will be clear and it will be easier to you. But you have to spend the time at home for sure. So, what is Selenium WebDriver? This is the first question. So what's really happened when you do the testing in your testing life? What do? Usually, say example, this is our code and box automation. So this is our, say example, this is your application. This is your web application, and you need to test this page. I mean, this page, or say example, I'm going to open a practice page. Okay, this is say example, this is your application page, and you need to do the testing. So what you are going to test? You are going to test. There's lots of things to test in this page. Say example, you have a header. This is called header part, right? This is your body page, and at the bottom you have it called footer part. This is called footer part. So you have lots of things test. But they will tell you exactly what part you have to test. Maybe you have to test your header part. Header part, you have to make sure all the navigation bar, this navigation, it's displaying, and it has drop down more pages, and those pages is working. If you click on this page, it's supposed to take you that page. It's supposed to land you that page. That's one of the testing. You may have to make sure that's the radio button, right? You have some option. Radio button is give you some options, right? So you select on the radio button. Whatever the radio button you select, it's selected. That could be another test. And drop down. So you select the drop down option, and it's selected. That option is selected, and so on. Check on, right? And then you have a separate tab. If you click on, it will open a new tab window. You have a text box, so you're gonna write something, and it will save. Okay, and it will accept it by some condition, like it has some limitation of the word to take it. It will not take all unlimited words. It may be limited like 200, maybe 100. So there's some limitation. You have some table. Make sure these tables have a valid data. So those things are. And you have an iframe. It's a frame, in a page. This is another website that to display some messages, some another website, some advertisement. They create a frame. That's called iframe, or you can say iframe. So this is another website inside this page. You can see that's my another site is inside this page. So that's inside a iframe. So you'll make sure that your iframe is working and displaying the right content. So those are, and also you have some link in your footer. You have to make sure if you click on any of the link, and it's landed to the right pages. So those are the all very simple test cases for these pages. So in a real life, so what is the manual test case? Manual testing would be like, whatever the requirement. So requirement, it's you click on registered home page. It's take you to the registered home page. So click on there. If it's a land to the registered home page, and it's display the form, it means this is one test case. It landed to the registered home page, registered page successfully. And then your second case would be you are able to write, fill up this form, and you are able to submit this form. You are able to select that drop down option. You are able to select all those things, and there is some of the field is mandatory, some of the field is not mandatory. Your test case is going to be more test cases, like to make sure that you are not able to submit this form without mandatory field. So you are going to do everything manually. You will type over here, fill the form, and you click register, and it will submit, and you will get a successful message like your form was registered. So those are all the things, testing things you are doing manually. You are clicking, you are checking by your eyes that okay, it's landing up there successful, all those things, right? So those are manual. So when you click radio button test, you select the radio button, you are clicking up there, you are selecting this another options like checkbox options, you are clicking up there. So everything you are writing over here, your name, this is typing, you are manually you are doing, you are using your keyboard, your mouse, and you are using yourself, you spend your time to do this. So what is the automation? Automation comes to the picture to avoid all those manual tasks. It means all of the things you will do automatically by your code. You will give an instruction in your code. Okay, hey, go to this page like codeinbox.com/practice. Go to this page, your browser will open automatically, will go this page, and then you will say okay, click on register, click on up there course registration, and then drop down option will open, and click on find the registration form, click up there, it will go to and make sure that it's landed to that page. Similarly, come back to this page again, select the radio option 2 button, and select the option 1 button, checkbox, click type over here like shortfall the name, and click on alert button. Everything you are supposed to do manually to do the test, you are going to do all the test. The test will not be compromised. You are going to do all the tests, but it will be done automatically. You don't have to do this by your mouse by yourself. You will write the code, and you give an instruction on your code, and your code will will do this behalf of you, and that's called the automation. And so what's the benefit? Benefit is this, like you don't have to spend your time. Human usable time is gonna be saved. The business hours is gonna be saved. You can write the code, and you can ask to run the code even anytime on demand. It could be, or you can do it scheduled. So anytime you need to run, you can run it anytime. Or if you want to schedule to run those codes, say 2 o'clock in the morning, you will you give an instruction to run your code 2 o'clock in the morning. It will run as it is, and at the end of the run, it will give you also report, nice report, how many test cases was run, how many was passed, how many was failed, all those things. So in the early in the morning, when you will be in the office, you will see there is a report is ready for you. So you are sleeping, but your testing was keep going on. So as a result, the business hour saves. The company can do more tests within a short time. And this is something like even though you left the company, the code is going to be there, anybody can run it, right? So this is the benefits of automation, or automation comes to the picture and demand. Does that make sense, everyone? Why it's automation necessary? What is automation, right? So now, previously at the beginning of the automation era, there was a couple of tools in the market was very high demand. Like HP, brings some of the tools called HP ALM, QTP. Probably you heard who is doing the automation. Probably Rajiv knows about it a little bit. Right, so the QTP, and there was some load runner for doing your performance testing. So there were some tools in the market at the beginning of the automation to this kind of job, but it was very expensive. Those tools the subscription was very expensive. So only the big company like the banks or big companies, they were able to afford those tool subscription. Usually small company or farm, they wouldn't able to expense that cost and do the automation. So that's why they have to do the manual. They have to always depend on their test case, on their testing for manual system. But later on, Google thinks about it. one of the developer from Google's, and he think about these problems. So okay, this is not efficient way to do the automate because very expensive in a process, and it's not good for all the small companies. So he thought we need to do something, some automation process which is free, which is low cost or pretty much free, and it can afford by every company, and they can do the automate in their testing process. Okay, so for since he had a team, he talked with the team, and then they did some brainstorming, and then they brings up some idea. And Selenium, that's the Selenium where it burns. Selenium, it comes to the picture by the Google team, one of the Google developer, and he was the team lead, and then he makes that project as official, and then it's a whole team work on this, how we can control. So who is doing everything you are doing in your browser? So they figure out, okay, we need to write some sort of code, and that code can do exactly the same thing. So we needed some sort of, first they came to the version. There was a Selenium, it comes with a different version. Let's go to the Selenium official site. Okay, let's put this guy a little bit down. Okay, Selenium, this is a Selenium official site. Selenium.dev. It was before was a different site, but now this is the site Selenium.dev. Okay, this is the Selenium official site. Okay, it's and over here you can read the what's called the Selenium history if you want, and then you can see more over here. That's a lot of part over here. It has some download, it's the driver. We're going to use the download, and there is a blog. If there's a new problems comes, features comes, people talked about there. So this blog is very helpful. Some document is about all the technology used in Selenium, all those things, so, and it's a free software, so anybody can use it. There is no cost related with using Selenium. Okay, so that's why it's called open source. And different, but how the project runs, some of the company who are getting benefited by the Selenium, they also do some donation, but most and they are also using this Selenium. Okay, so these are some of the supporting companies, sponsor company, like Sauce Lab is very big, right? So Browser Stack is very big too. So anyways, so let's see the project. So when you say the project, this is just nothing. It's a different version of the Selenium. You can say Selenium IDE. Started Selenium IDE. Selenium IDE is the it's a one of the first project. Let's I think so we're almost 1 minute remaining, so I'm going to give you the new link for the Zoom, and then join up there, and then we'll start about it. Okay, so as I was saying, those are the different project, or different version, or different flavor, I would say flavor, for Selenium project, for Selenium tools. So let's go to the project. So you can see Selenium WebDriver. Selenium, I will come to the WebDriver a little bit later. Let's go to talk about the Selenium. So this is one of the earliest earliest version of or flavor, you can say, Selenium IDE. So Selenium IDE, so at the very beginning when they bring the Selenium, they try to make it much easier. It means, because usually previously the people who were involved with the testing, testing job or the testing industry, they didn't have that much knowledge about the code. I mean, they knew very basic like HTML, CSS code, but not in details like we're learning over here, like a specific one of the programming language, know how to write the code, do all the things. So they were not that efficient that time. this was the industry move. So since the most of the people were not that much knowledgeable regarding in terms of the coding, so they think, okay, we need something, the Selenium version that it's going to be very easy. So they bring up the IDE flavor. So IDE flavor is nothing a recorder tool. It is still alive. People they can use. It's an extension of a Chrome and Firefox browser. So if you just Google Selenium IDE, you will see there's an extension you can add with it's a plugin with your browser, Chrome and Firefox, and it's simply recorder tools. So what it does, when you do the testing, you have to do the test manually by yourself at least once. So you run, so example, this is your page you are going to test. So you are going to test, you will click on the course, and then a drop down list will show. You will click on Selenium automation, and so you will do the things first time, and the tools will be, it's like this. One of the tools it's called IDE or RC is going to be over here, and if you click on the tools, it will have an option to record it. So you click on record play button, and then you do the job manually. So it will save the recording behind the scene, and it will make some code by itself. So this code, then later on you can run the record that's recorded part, you can run or play again and again whenever you need. Okay, so this was the RC was very easy to use, and it was good. Anybody could use this. Still that feature is available. The problem is that, so in a page there's a lot of things, right? Say you have a lot of the recent post over here, lots of buttons over here, and then so what does the recorder's problem? The problem is, say example, you have in your footer you have some of the link over here. Say practice is over here under the quick links section. The practice is over here. Some reason, because since it's all development, this is application. Anytime any one of the element over here in a web page, it's called web element. Okay, it's called web element. So any one of the web element or web object. Okay, so try to just remember that any things in this in a web application, it's called web element or web object. So people, since the developer, they're always updating their website, they are doing something, they're making some change. So this some reason they make a new decision. Okay, this practice page is going to be very last, and privacy policy is going to up. So in your recording, when you did the record, you click on practice page, you click on, when did you do the record? Assume that your practice page was here, and 2 weeks later, and you did the record and you save it, and 2 weeks later your practice button, your dev team, they did the new decision. Okay, they moved the practice page from here to here. So 2 weeks later, after they move it, when you are going to play the same recording, to click on to find the practice page, to click that page and go to the practice page, your recorder, your recording history will not able to find the practice page, because in the meanwhile, after you save the record, there was a change happen. The practice page moved from here to here. So the link, this, because every element, this practice page is an web element. Every element, it has address. You will see address, so every element, to find the element behind the scene, there is an address. And so each and every element, it has some address, or you can say some properties, and using people, they use those properties to find that element uniquely. So example, this is a practice page. I can show you where is that element. This is the code. It's called HTML code. So you can see, I can spy and to finding an element uniquely. It's, so if you see, when I select this practice, you can see there is a line over here, this line, it's it's selected, selected with a it's a dark ash color. So this is the appropriate. If you see, I move my mouse over here, this HTML code, it's also shows this one. It's a highlight that web element. So this is, it means this is the corresponding HTML code for that web element, this practice web element. And so it has a lot of information over here, some of the information. So it has some of the the information, it's based on some of the properties. So properties means that practice web elements, it has some information or properties over here, and one of the properties we are going to use to locate, to address that web element uniquely. So when we do the recording tools, when you do the record, use the recording tools, when you select this, they get the information from there. Behind the scene, they do the same thing. That recording tools also create some code, based on when you do the recording. And where they do the code, the tools have option like what language you are going to use. So you will say, okay, I'm going to use Java. So it will create the code behind the scene, Java, based on the Java syntax, Java, and it will get the information to locate each and every object. It will get the properties of that object from from here, from there, and then those code will be saved. So if you change this object from here to here after you save the recording tools, save your recording, if you move here, if you run this history, this recorded your history again, it will not find the practice object, because in your recorded, your history tells, okay, your practice, this object should be second last, and it will use some of the properties from here, and this you will not, because since this object is moved from here to here, it will not able to find out this practice allocated, this object, because it's the address has been moved, but your recorded, since it's recorded, you are playing your recording code, this you recorded was based on your last, when it was whatever the when you did the record, whatever the recording situation that time, the object was where it's based on the record on that situation. But if you change after anything, after you save the record, it will not able to find it. So that's one of the big problem using IDE version or RC version. Then they think, okay, I think this is not sufficient, we need some better approach, so that whatever if the even object is changed from here to here, anything change the color, move it, it's still will able to find it, or will able to fix it. Particularly will able to fix it, we need a rights. So anytime, anywhere, we can change the code, and we can change the code specifically for this specific area. So if practice page is moved from here to here, we'll only change the related code for this practice, not any. But recorded, it's like a saved, right? You can't change the saved stuff, right? So when you record any program, you can't change the program's stuffs, because it's already recorded. But if you have a power not to record, but you write your code by your own, so that you have a full access, anytime you can run the code, and anytime, anywhere you can change. So if this any object move from one place to another place, you go for this object properties and you update the address. Okay, that you can say in your code, okay, the practice element, web element, it changed, moved from one location to another location, so I'm going to put the new address for this practice locator, and that's all you need to do to adjust the change. So that will give you the will resolve the problem that was happened in recording tool. So then it's WebDriver comes to the picture. So since you are going to change the or update the address, everything, your code, that's why you need a coding knowledge. because now there's no recording stuff. So you are writing your code by your own, from the very scratch. All of the test cases you are going to write, and if there is you make the code such a way so that it's very dynamic way, so that anytime you need to change, you just change any object, it's change its pattern, color, everything, even change the location. You just change one place, it will update everywhere. So those are the part of that's a part of also the framework. But you have a full access in your code, so you don't have to change everywhere. Rest of the place you just change the object, it's got changed or affected. Okay, so that's why the WebDriver, there's another version comes to the picture, which is called WebDriver. So Selenium brings, they came up with a new flavor, it's called WebDriver. So WebDriver, it's nothing like a tool. That's why it was a tool. IDE is exactly a tool or plugin, but WebDriver is not a tool. This is an API. Will have a driver will install in your website who will do the job for you, but you have to give the instruction by your code to do the job. Like you will say, hey driver, go to this web page and click on up there, if you say, okay, this web element got changed the location, so I'm updating the address, and so go to the new address, it will go to the new address. So there will be one driver. That's why the driver's name comes to the picture. There will be one driver exe file. We know, for any software, when you install, say you install what's called your printer machine, you have to install a driver, right? So all of that, whatever, when you install any hardware or any lot of softwares, that's you need to install driver. It's nothing, it's called executable exe file. For Windows machine, it's called exe file, right? It's a type of file where it can understand your language, it can understand your instruction, it can read your code and can do the job. It has that kind of driver, is that kind of capacity, it has that kind of capacity. So based on different browser, in Selenium it has a different driver. So there is a driver for Chrome browser, there is a driver for Firefox, and so on. Internet Explorer, it has a separate driver. So that driver can understand your code. When you're going to write a code like this in your Eclipse, it can read that code and it can talk with the browser, because that driver, it's made to execute this instruction for a specific browser. So if you use the ChromeDriver, so Chrome, it has a driver, it's called ChromeDriver. If you use a ChromeDriver, it will only able to follow your instruction and apply the instruction, or execution will be applicable only to Chrome browser. It will not able to work on the Firefox driver, because this driver is made such a way that it will able to only can talk only with the Chrome browser. Similarly, the Firefox, it has its own browser, it's called Gecko driver. It has a name, it's just Gecko driver, but this is just another driver. It's exe file that can talk with the Firefox browser. And similarly, Internet Explorer, it has a IE driver. It can only read the instruction, apply the instruction, and talk with the communicate only with the Internet Explorer, and so on. Okay, so that's the Selenium WebDriver come to the picture. Make your code dynamic, more useful, so that you don't have to depend and remove the disadvantages of IDE version or RC version. Okay, there is Selenium, there is another flavor, it's called Selenium Grid. Selenium Grid, it's another flavor. You have to understand the WebDriver first, and then its Grid is the next layer, next level, to make your code execute or testing in parallel in different browser, different operating system at the same time. that's a different level of learning phase. But you have, if you know the Selenium WebDriver, then later on you're going to learn, you will able to learn the Selenium Grid. But Selenium Grid is based on WebDriver, so you have to know how the WebDriver works and what is the technology and how everything works. So now that's the Selenium WebDriver comes to the picture, and the market, it's all demand based on Selenium WebDriver. All the jobs nowadays, that's since this tools is free, so now all small company they are starting to use this in a Selenium to make their testing automated, save their business hours without any cost. So that's why the now testing job, it's flipped. Testing job is now, it's more towards to a developer job. So now that's why even the title you will see a software developer in test. Now in not, it's, you will see still QA analyst, but most of the times even though you see it's QA analyst, they are looking for a QA analyst, but the requirement is that you have to know the automation, which is like software developer in test. You are going to develop your test cases in an automation way, and most of the times they said you need a experience or knowledge based on the Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so now this is the little bit description about the Selenium WebDriver. So let's go to details about the Selenium WebDriver. So here, so Selenium WebDriver is a collection of open source APIs which are used to automate the testing of a web application. It supports many browsers such as Firefox, Chrome, IE, Safari, and so on. Are you understand? Are you able to pick up the stuffs that I'm saying, everyone? Right, so now we're going to go through a little bit some theoretical stuffs about the Selenium. So I gave you at the beginning, which is the Selenium WebDriver, so how it's born, the burning stuffs, our history behind the Selenium WebDriver. Now Selenium WebDriver is a collection of open source. Since every browser it has a different driver, all together it's called Selenium WebDriver. That's why it's a collection of open source APIs. So a lot of people, they make a mistake. They say Selenium WebDriver is a tool. It's not a tool. It's an API. It's an API. It means it has some programs built behind the scene and created. It's like not the tools, but it's in like extension file. But you have to how you are going to use this API or this extension tool. It's up to you. You have to make some code. That's why it's not a ready tool, just you download the tools and it's going to work for you. No. So it's an API which are used to, so what is the reason it's used? Used to test your web application. It supports many browsers such as Firefox, Chrome. So because every browser it has separate driver. So that's why, that's the simple definition of Selenium WebDriver. So advantages, it is an open source, as I said, and free to use without any license cost. It support multiple languages, so any language you write your code based on Java, Ruby, Python, C#, JavaScript, it can read, it can understand all the different languages. So our course, our automation is based on Java, but some people, they can do the automate, they can write their code based on Ruby, Python, C#. Nowadays JavaScript very famous. You can write your code based on any language, and Selenium WebDriver, those drivers for ChromeDriver, FirefoxDriver, those drivers are able to understand. It's compatible with different language. So this is another very advantages. It supports multiple browser. As I said, it has a different driver for different browser to talk can work. So it supports multiple browser as well as multiple platforms. So it can work with Windows, it can work on Mac, it can work on Linux. So any different operating system it can also works. And it has a good amount of source and resource and helping community over the internet. If you search on Google anything related Selenium, you found some problems, you search on google.com, go to the search on Google and you type the related stuffs, you will see tons of people, they have the similar problem, and there is a lots of resource, there is a lots of talks, forum, and then they give you the solution. So that's why it has a very lots of forums, good community, helping community. Stack Overflow is one of the community. Stack Overflow is basically web development. It's a development community, but people also talk over there about the Selenium. So lots of people, so you will find, you will get some result, and you will see somebody else had the similar type of issues, and other people, they're replying, they're giving the solution. So you'll able to find the solution. And most of the community is based on Java. That's why Selenium is very famous with the Java. That's one of the reason, because of the community, open source, the internet community. That's most of the people, they are using Java. There are some disadvantages or limitation of WebDriver 2. What is the limitation? The limitation is it cannot work with the desktop application. Well, nowadays the desktop application is almost gone from the digital era, right? So there is people, that's very rare, the people, they install the software, and that software it's only work for your desktop on your machine. It's not going to work any other machines unless they buy the subscription license, all those things. Now it's cloud based. Cloud based is it means a cloud application, a web application. Everything you can do in your website. Example, say a lot of POS software, like point of sale software. It's a lot of people's still is point of sale software is based on desktop. Like you go to the restaurant or go to any store, when you pay the money, they charge you from a computer, you will see, and then that computer is linked with their cash box, as well as it's linked with their ATM machine. There is a machine, the credit card or card machine, right? So they enter the code and then give the import, and then you can pay from your card, and that, or you pay cash, and then they put the money on their cash box. That's called point of sale software. Those are like desktop based software. They have to install the software, implement the software on that specific machine, and then they have to set up the configuration, and that will work. But in a cloud form, it means but nowadays the people, most of the software is based on the cloud form. Like whenever you go, as long as you have an internet, you can go to that software or application, you can say, and as long as you have a credential, the URL, the site name, you can go say Amazon. It's a big web application, is based on cloud. Anywhere you go, you just go to the application, Amazon.com or CA, you can shop around, and you can pay it. Everything is online. You don't have to download anything, right? You don't have to download anything. Like you can say Facebook. So most of the nowadays, even now, that's why the software is turns to application. Nowadays it's a software is turns to web application, because it's based, this is called the cloud based. So everything is on the cloud. It means it's always on live. As long as you have a credential, you have the URL, you go and you use this. The Selenium, it's only used on web application, Selenium cannot applicable to desktop application. Okay, that's one of the because it's based on the browser. It's based on the browser. It can read the Selenium. It has a different driver, and those driver can talk, only works with the browser. So if you have a point of sale software, there's no browser. They don't use that browser. It has a software installed on your machine, like Microsoft Office. You install on your Office on your machine, and you click on the icon, and it's open, and you do the things, right? So Selenium it has a limitation. It cannot work on the desktop version. Okay. And number two, it's a Selenium. Creating a Selenium framework, robust framework, you need some programming language. That's another disadvantages. Now everybody cannot have that in knowledge. right? Previously, the QA, to be a QA analyst, you didn't need a programming concept or knowledge, but now, since it's automation in the market, it's a high demand, and Selenium is one of the most highly demandable approach that you need to use for the automation. To do this, this already. That's why we had a Java language separate classes. We will finish all the the language stuffs, because you need a language knowledge for doing a automation. That's another disadvantages. And since this is Selenium API, and it's not a complete tools, so to work this API, you not only need a programming language support, you need some helping library support, like as well as some other tools to do some of the specific job. So first, Selenium, it's all this the driver. Selenium, it has its own library. Remember the Java, when you did the Java, we said that Java has its own library API, which is just nothing. It's like a lot of project, and a project inside some package, and package inside a lot of classes and methods who are doing some specific job. Remember the math.dynamic we use? So all those things comes from Java library API. So similarly, Selenium, it has its own library to do a lot of jobs. Remember that even our Java polymorphism class, we give you some idea about the like Selenium WebDriver as an interface class, as well as ChromeDriver, FirefoxDriver. All those driver are the classes, subclasses, and those classes, they have the common method for do some specific job, like open the browser, get the URL, close the browser, all those things. Those codes, why are those codes? Those are just a method name, like get URL, get title, and it will give you title. How the things will happen, because this is just a method name, but behind the scene, those methods, how these methods, the get title method will get a title from your website live active URL. How this is going to happen? It's nothing, just behind the scenes. Selenium, it has its own library API. When you download, it comes with this, and those library, it has a these methods have a coding and it will get the code, helping code from the library to do the job. So it needs some supporting library, some supporting the code. So it depends on those libraries. So you need this library stuffs on your Selenium, on your project, as well as you need some external tools also, like Log4j, some of the tools, TestNG, that's some of the tools. Those are the external tools we'll see in our practice, when do the practice. Okay, so we'll see those things. So it depends on some library as well as some external tools to make your framework, your automation very robust and dynamic. So those are some disadvantages of the Selenium WebDriver. Now, I hope pretty much that's all for now that you need to know about the Selenium WebDriver. So do you have any question up until now regarding the Selenium WebDriver? Anyone? Okay, so I hope that you understand, you are able to visualize what is Selenium WebDriver, where it comes from, what is the necessity or the required or benefits for using the Selenium WebDriver. I try to make it as short as possible. Okay, if you to know more in details, go to the Selenium website, their official site, and just browse around and see all the different elements. You'll not understand everything, but you will get some clue from our lecture today. So now we're going to set up your machine. So the Selenium, so there is some configuration setup is required when you do the Selenium code. First, you need a Java. We have already Java installed on your machine, and we have the environment variable already created when you download the Java. So that part is done. Number one is done. And number 2 is done also, that we remember that we did a java underscore home, we created environment variable with the java paths. Remember we did this one. And number 3, we need a one of the editor, which is Eclipse. We're going to Eclipse, so we have already Eclipse in your machine, so that part is done too. Number 4, this is the one, Selenium jars download. Okay, again, since I said Selenium is not a tool, it's an API. API is nothing, it's a jar. Remember in our Java class we talked about the jar files, right? So jar files is like it's a special type of files where you have a code. It's like a zip. Your code files they zip it, so that you can easily download, you can transfer, you can move on those files and upload somewhere. It's easily. So this is a special type of file, like a text file. So jar is a separate type of file, which means it's a coding zip file, coding which is based on Java. The code it's a Java based code. Okay, so we need to download the Selenium jar file, Selenium related stuff in your machine. Okay, let's go to and where to download in Selenium. This is the their official site, Selenium tab download. Let's go. Okay, if you go Selenium official sites, there is a download options. You will go there, and then this is a Selenium Grid. We're not using Selenium Grid, we're going to use Selenium. You can see inside here Selenium client and WebDriver language binding. Inside this section, it has a Selenium, the version. This is a different like languages support based on different language. It has a different version. So we are using Java, and it has this is very stable version 3.141. This is the stable version, and then the alpha version, there's the next version for it's I think it's on right now it's alpha. When a software comes to the market release, before it comes to the release, the release version, they make it some alpha version, beta version, alpha version, so that they do few layer of testing, and then finally when they feel it's very stable, they release it. So there is an advanced next version 4 is coming, but right now it's in alpha stage. So we're not going to use the 4, so better to use stable one 3.141. And how are you going to download alpha? We're not going to download alpha, we're going to download this one, download. Okay, download. So if you click on there, guys, you have to do this. Okay, so if you please click on there. Are you in this page? Go to this page. Where is the chat? Please go to this page. Yes, click on the download, and not the alpha download. Okay, click on there and make sure it's a Java related. So there is a zip file. You can see there's a zip file, right? Selenium Java, there's a zip file. So what you are going to do, remember at the very beginning, I think it's on your desktop, we create a folder, right, for you related this whole project, this tutorial, and then inside the folder you have another folder called Java, right? You put all the stuffs related to the Java, like all the nodes, everything, right? So let's create, I would say, similar type of inside the same folder, create another subfolder, give a name Selenium. So example, for myself, I can show you. Let me show my one. Where's my folder explorer? For my one example, if I go, I think C drive, and if I go users, and inside the user, okay, inside the user I give him, so you can put inside the user, that's better. So in your user, in your user, okay, you will see, you will go to your C drive, and then inside the user, oh, let's put everything in the same, don't worry, let's put everything in your same place. So whatever the driver folder you have in your desktop, I believe you have a desktop, similarly same folder you will go, and then you have a Java folder, and then create another one, just give a name Selenium. Don't put the Selenium work, maybe it's better to Selenium, Selenium. So inside the Selenium folder, you drag the zip folder, you just download it and put it there. You can see related the zip folder I have. Where is the Selenium? You see, this is the zip folder here, Selenium Java. When I downloaded it, it was a 3.141. now it's the version is 3.14 something. So just drag this folder inside it. So make a subfolder inside a main folder, give a name Selenium, and then inside the Selenium drag the downloaded zip folder and put it here. Okay, so after you drag it, so you have a zip folder here, everyone. So those are the codes, sorry, yes, so those are the codes that we downloaded over here. So those are all are jar files. So jar file is nothing, just a some different project, and every based on Java, and it has lots of classes and methods that we are going to use. So we're going to get a support from there. So now who's going to do this job? Like open the browser. That's what we said, we need a Selenium. It has a separate individual browser driver for every browser. So if you want to do the stuffs based on Chrome, you need a ChromeDriver. So where are those drivers? So we are going to go back to this page again, the Selenium page, official page, and then you will go to browsers. If you go under the download, same download page, if you go a little bit down, and you will see there is a browser platform supported by Selenium. This is the operating system. It's give you the list of the operating system it works, as well as the different types of browser. If you click on browser, and then you can see it has a separate individual driver for different based on browser. So Firefox browser, they give a name called GeckoDriver. It's just another driver, but they give a separate name. It's called GeckoDriver for Firefox. For Internet Explorer, Internet Explorer, it's a little bit critical for the Selenium. It doesn't work that good, but it has a separate driver. It's called IE driver. For Safari, it's called SafariDriver. For Opera, it's called OperaDriver. This is all a different browser. For the Chrome, it's called ChromeDriver. Okay, so to download the ChromeDriver, so I assume that our most of the practice is going to be based on the Chrome, because Chrome is the mostly usable browser in the market right now. But we'll see how it works with Chrome, as well as we'll see how it works with the Firefox also. This is the two browser mostly used, and the test based on the test case is mostly people they do Chrome and Firefox, and they do Internet Explorer, but that's very rare. That's very rare, especially some of the the government project. So we'll see most of the things we will do on Chrome. So if you want to do Chrome, click on this, get the driver for the Chrome documentation. You click on there. Now here it has all different version available. So Chrome browser, every browser it has a different version too. Like our Chrome, we use a Chrome it's a different version, like 80, 85, 74. Those are different version for the Chrome, and every version based on the Chrome version, it has a different driver too. I hope you are following me, right? So every browser, when you use a browser, we have those browser, it's a application, and the Google, when they update the browser, they give a new version name. So that's the software development process. When they update their software or their application and they release to the market, they give it comes to the market with a new version number, new version name, which means new version number. So Chrome browser it's not the 2 years away back. Chrome browser is not the same today's browser. It's a lot of things they change. So when they change the apply and come to the production or come to the market, it comes to the some new version number. So that's why Chrome has its own version number. Firefox, it has its own version number, and every version of the Chrome, it has some limitations, some capabilities, some limitation. So based on the version, that's why based on the version we have a different driver also. So if you have in your machine you have a Chrome browser version 84 and we download the old version ChromeDriver, that driver will not able to work with this latest version of your browser. You get my point, right? So you have to, so before we download the driver, we have to make sure what version of the Chrome browser you have, and based on that browser we have to download the driver. So how you gonna know, next question is how you are going to know what version of Chrome browser you have in your machine. It's very simple. If you open your browser, open another extension tab in your Chrome and go to type Chrome, Chrome colon, and you can see double forward/. I used a lot of times, so that's why it comes automatically. Type this one on your browser, Chrome clone /version. If you type this and hit enter, you will see it will say at the very top first line, Google Chrome, this is the version number 84. This is the main part, and rest of that you don't have to worry that much. Your main part is the first two digits. 84 is my version. My Chrome browser version is 84. So now you're gonna check your own Chrome version. Okay, so everyone have the 84. Sounds good. So if you go back to the Selenium page, right, the driver page, and see now current stable release. Okay, this is ChromeDriver. This is the one for if you have a browser is 84. Some of the version, if you have a browser 85, which is the next release, is already beta version, it's going to come your version when it's going to deploy the 85, they have to use the driver, this one. So now right now, so everyone have 84, so we're going to download this one. So click on this ChromeDriver, the 84 one, click on there, and then this page will open. Make sure you are 84 one, right? This page is open. So here there's some files over here. So you are going to, doesn't matter you have a Windows 64-bit or 32-bit. So everyone, I think so all of them have a 64-bit, but for Windows version, this is the only one file, the ChromeDriver, because now it's based on the operating system. They have different WebDriver too. Your Windows ChromeDriver is not going to work on Mac. If you want to do the project on a Mac, you have to download the Mac this driver. So since all of you have the Windows machine, we're going to download this one, ChromeDriver _win32 zip, this one. Okay, click on this one, it will download. This zip file will download on your machine in your something like this, in your download folder. Okay, so please download this win32.zip file, and after you download it, go back to the same folder you had, Selenium folder or automation folder, in the Selenium subfolder inside where you have the Selenium Java the file. Bring this ChromeDriver, or you can, if you unzip it, if you unzip that file, you can bring it over here too, that's fine. and make sure, yeah, and you unzip it, you will find inside only one file. You will see the file name is just ChromeDriver, like this one. So please unzip it or copy that driver and paste it outside. I mean, just over here, like you have a Selenium Java folder, and then put it outside, but make sure you put everything in the same folder, like which is your Selenium, the Selenium parent folder. Don't put this one inside any other folder or inside the Selenium Java folder. Like this, you see, I have the Selenium Java package and also the ChromeDriver. I put it over here. So when I download it, it was in my GIF folder. I mean, it was in GIF file, and then it was in download folder. So from the download, I unzip it, and I went to the inside and copied this driver and just paste it over here. So paste it over here, the same places but without a folder. Everyone got it? So later on, you can see in my working place, you can see there is a Gecko driver. This is we can download on later on when you will do that some test based on the Firefox browser. So this is just another driver, nothing else. Everything will be the same. For now, right now, we'll do it's a ChromeDriver based on ChromeDriver. So everyone have the ChromeDriver, right? Sounds good. So we got this one, get and set. We got the get and set ChromeDriver. We got the ChromeDriver, but we haven't set up yet. For setup, we'll see how we can set up this. Okay, so we'll set up. It means you have to give the path of your ChromeDriver, where that ChromeDriver located in your machine, and you have to pass that path in your coding, so that your code can easily find the ChromeDriver and send the instruction you write in your code. It's now pretty much we're all set up. What do you have to do? You are going to start the coding, and your code you are going to your first line inside the main method. There is a inside the main method there is another method. This is the predefined method, and where this method comes from, the Selenium jar file. Remember, this is comes from the Selenium library API, and so one of the method is called set properties, where we're going to tell where your ChromeDriver located. You have to pass the path. The first line is going to be, you are going to introduce your code where this driver is located. So it will find the driver, and then it will follow rest of the code. In the rest of the code, it will pass all the rest of the code is nothing, just instruction, some relation and instruction. You will pass all the code. It will pass this, it will pass all the code to the driver, and the driver will read all the code and will do the job, will follow the code or instruction line by line, and will do the job as per your code. That's the mechanism. Okay, so let's do our first So you have a ChromeDriver, right? You have a ChromeDriver. So yeah, 32.1. So you are probably it is on your downloaded folder, right? Inside your downloaded folder. So example, Selenium. But I want to make sure. Here is the thing. I want to make sure. Say example, you have a ChromeDriver. Okay, ChromeDriver like this. Okay, and then you double click there, and you have this is a unzip. Okay, you have this ChromeDriver, right? This one you can see inside, right? So make sure you copy this driver, you copy this one, you can copy this. I need the solid unzip ChromeDriver.exe file inside. After you unzip it, or if you are able to find it inside your the actual folder, the automation folder. You have the automation folder, and inside the automation folder you have a Selenium folder. Inside the Selenium folder you have the Selenium jar files, all the jar files, and then I need this ChromeDriver over here. Without a zip file. It's just solid application, like just only one file like this. Okay, yeah, it's a open, not zip, right? Yep, as long as you have this things like this open, you are good to go. Okay, so let's open our Eclipse, and then inside the Eclipse we'll create our first test. Okay, let's create a class. So you're going to say class, create a class, say new. So let's first I think we need to create a project. Let's create a project, give a name, project file, then new, then Java project, or give a name a project. You know what, give a Java project. Okay, name new Java project, and then give a name, project name, give a name Selenium exercise. Like I have a demo, you can say Selenium exercise. Give a name Selenium exercise, Selenium exercise. Okay, keep your default location as it is. Fine, click on next, and then okay, and then Selenium exercise, that's fine. Click on finish. Okay, so you have a Selenium exercise project like this, right? Everyone, everyone got it? The new project, given a Selenium exercise. Okay, so in your project you have a JRE system library. Keep it as it is. You can see there's a lots of default jar files. Those are the jar files that comes from the those are the jar files all together called Java library API. Okay, it's already comes automatically. Remember this, we use the Java library API, so all those things is nothing, just code comes from the jar. And then over here you have a SRC, source folder. So inside a source folder we are going to create all the codes for now. So this is our plan, is that first of all we are going to do some raw exercise to handle some of the common scenario that's happen across all web application. It means in all web application, those are the common scenarios. You will see every applications this is very radio button, checkbox, then there is a box to type something, click on open a new window, click on a new tab, some tables, and then so those are the very common scenario across all applications. Some links, go to the different pages. Those are the common, doesn't matter what type of application, those are the common and very fundamental activities for a web application. So we're going to see how we can handle, how we can do automate to handle those kind of activities, the common. So that's the way we're going to start, and we'll be matured by doing more and more practice and get to know that's how to handle those kind of things. You will say this is very interesting. When you will run the code, it will do the job. You will see this it's fun. Okay, so our first exercise: create a class in your source folder. Everybody have a project, right? The Selenium exercise. In your source folder, right click, new, create a class, select a class and give a class name. And remember, once again, the coding is standard for a class. Your class always, the class name always start with the uppercase and follow the camel cascading, right? And method name is started with the lowercase and follow camel cascading. Those are the very standard process or name in the coding industry. So give it your coding first your name for the class. Maybe you can say give a name Selenium test. Okay, give a name, class name Selenium test, Selenium test 1. So just give a name Selenium test 1. Okay, and select the public static void main, this one. So we're going to get the main method over here and then finish it. Okay, so this is your fresh main first class. It's called Selenium test 1, and then it's your main method, right? So here we're going to do very simple coding. So what we're going to do, here's this one. Okay, firstly we're going to create, let's create, this is the comments, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to create a WebDriver object for Chrome browser. Okay, so based on Chrome, we're going to create an object of Chrome browser, WebDriver object for Chrome browser. So to do this, we're going to write, what does it mean? Create an object of Chrome browser. So we're making a relationship between a ChromeDriver as well as WebDriver. Remember the polymorphism in Java class, that we can make a relationship, relationship between two classes following inheritance. Like one class would be a parent class, another class would be child class, in such a way so that both of them, your parent class would be interface and your child class would be concrete, and both of them will have the common methods, and they can, the interface classes methods will be without a body, and the body will be described in the child class so that they can use those methods and activities, right? So that's the relationship of between two classes, and we'll create that's the way we're going to create an object. First we're going to create an object of your Chrome browser. So what is the Chrome browser? So Chrome browser, it has in Selenium, it has its some classes. Okay, so where is the Selenium classes? Let's go here. Selenium ChromeDriver, I think it's a document. If you go Selenium, let me show you where is the, or go to the home page of the Selenium official site. Oh no, Google, if you say Selenium, just Selenium, type is Selenium WebDriver. if you type Selenium WebDriver, you will see it will bring to their official site. This is the Selenium WebDriver official site. Okay, Selenium dab. I want to go to understand the WebDriver. WebDriver requirement. You can see everything. So Selenium WebDriver requirement. What is the requirement? Okay, that all this you will understand later on those things. This is the Selenium browser automation project. Here. Okay. Here, if you go document, and here if you come to the document, you can see based on Java, Selenium WebDriver, and then WebDriver quick tour, all those things. WebDriver warrants all those classes. A lot of times they change. Okay, Selenium installation, getting started. RemoteWebDriver. This is the RemoteWebDriver. So hold on, it's here. ChromeDriver download. Okay. Okay. So here you can see this is all the different classes. The Selenium. When you download the Selenium, we saw there's a 5 jar files inside the libs folder and 2 jar files outside of the libs folder. Libs folder, I mean those jar files is nothing. It's called Selenium. It's all together. It's a Selenium, library API. So inside those jar files, there's a lot of codes, a lot of package, the projects, different projects, and lots of classes, and there's a lot of methods inside that we're going to use in our code to help our code, to make it easier our code. What are those codes? What does it? All the codes in details over here. You can see there's a lots of package. Those are all Selenium package. The jar files inside, all the package is right there inside there, and all the classes is over here. You can see WebDriver. If you see all the way down, you will see WebDriver. You can see WebDriver. So WebDriver is an interface. Remember we said in our Java class WebDriver is interface. Here is the written document about the WebDriver. WebDriver is an interface. So, and its implement, it depends, WebDrivers or the interface class only depends on their child class, because it has all the methods are empty. So those methods needs to be described and implement. The implementation depends on other classes, and WebDriver can implement or child classes depends on the child classes, and those are the implementing or child classes. Like ChromeDriver, this is another concrete class where all the methods you have in your WebDriver, it's already in ChromeDriver with the body definition. And similarly HtmlDriver, similarly another one, Firefox, Internet Explorer. So those are all separate concrete class, or you can say subclass, or you can say child class, based on following the WebDriver is a parent class. And what is the method? All the methods, you can see there's a lots of method. You can see over here close method. So close method, the both WebDriver, if you talk about the ChromeDriver and WebDriver, both of the classes, they have this method. The difference is that WebDriver have only the method but not inside the code, but in ChromeDriver they have, in ChromeDriver class they have the method with the body definition. Okay, so inside this you can see the say close. This is the what it does the close method. So you can see in details that it will close the current window, quitting the browser. So that's the job. Then there is another, it's a quit method. Quit method will close all the window you have open in your browser. So every get window handles method, so there's a lots of methods. It's a common methods between these two classes, parent and child classes. and those are the description, what methods will do what. So those are the description, and it has all documented over here. So all you have to know the method name and what method does what. You have to know this one so that you can easily understand, okay, in this scenario, I want to close, so I can call the close method, I can call the quit method, so you have to know those methods and also the method's job. But how this will do the job, you don't have to understand, you don't have to worry about it. It's already written in Selenium jar files we have downloaded. Okay, so this is the short documentation. So we need to make that's why we have to make first we have to create an object. That's why we said it first things, where over here you can see I said we have to create, and sorry, put over Selenium WebDriver. Over here I said it right, we have to create an object of our Chrome. So Chrome class. So how we can create an object of Chrome class? So we see this, the class name is ChromeDriver. So we can create an object of any class. What do? You say new, then you type a class name ChromeDriver. This is the class name exactly, and then you put this one in a variable. In this sense, we are going to apply the polymorphism method. In polymorphism method, we are going to give a object name to save this object, the variable name driver, and you return that. Instead of new ChromeDriver, we are giving a parent class name, which is the WebDriver. And you have to make sure you type the class name as it is. If you make it upper and lowercase mix, it's not going to work. Okay, so your WebDriver class name exactly this way. ChromeDriver, if you just put the lowercase c, it's not going to able to recognize. So you have to make sure you put the class name as it is. So that's why it's case sensitive. Okay, so you create an object of ChromeDriver and puts in a variable, and then you make a relationship. You make a relationship with your parent class. So here we're doing, so we said first create driver object for Chrome browser. So we create a driver. This is a driver object. This is the object reference for Chrome browser. So for Chrome browser, we have to, whatever the browser, we have to create an object of that browser, create an object reference to put in there, and make a relationship with your parent class, which is your WebDriver, right? So now you can see there is some error. So what's the error? Puts if you move your cursor, you will see it's giving you two fixed. Create a class. It's saying, you're saying it's telling you to create a class giving a name ChromeDriver, because it doesn't understand this ChromeDriver. It's that I'm referring a, like by default, like the ChromeDriver is a class already created in Selenium. I'm referring that ChromeDriver, but our code, our Eclipse couldn't understand that. It's saying that I have already ChromeDriver created class and I'm referring that class. So that's not the true. I'm referring the class ChromeDriver, which is from the Chrome Selenium API library. It should be there, but I didn't upload those library jar files. That's why, because this ChromeDriver class, it's allocated here. Where this in Java Selenium is this jar file and libs file. So those, any one of the jar files have the knowledge about this Chrome class, but I didn't import, I didn't make a connection about those jar files with my project. So my project is a brand new project. This project doesn't have the knowledge about those jar files, and since there is no connection, no relationship, that's why my code cannot find this ChromeDriver class as well as same as WebDriver. So first I have to import, make a connection, and give the knowledge about those jar files, which is the library, Selenium library in my project. So how I can give a knowledge? Just import those jar files in your project. So how you can import, this is your project, right click on your project and go to properties, and then go to Java build path, and then inside the Java, under the Java build path, there is some tab libraries. Then click on add external jar. So we're adding some external jar, so we're going to add external jar, and now browse where those jar files. So you have this where the located those jar files. That's why in my case it is on C drive, and then I have a user, and then I have a Selenium work, and then I have this folder over here. So I'm going to select this 2 jar. First select the outside of the libs 2 jar, open, and after that go back again, click on add jar files, add external jar files. Again go back to the libs folder and select all of the jar files, like first 5 jar files, open, then apply and click apply close. Did you able to follow it? Exactly, every project you have to give the knowledge about your jar files. So now you will see there is another folder open automatically. It's called reference libraries, and inside this you can see all of your jar files. It's here. Did you able to do this? Let's hover your mouse. Now you can see a lot more options. To fix the problem, it's giving a lot more options. You can see one of the first option, import ChromeDriver. So it's now giving you, earlier we had 2 options, now it's giving you more options. It's the first option is saying now this project, this code can find, okay, there is a jar files, and one of the jar files have this class written up there. So it's saying if you want to use, if you mean this ChromeDriver class is the class from this jar files, one of the jar files, if you mean that one, you can import related project, import the package, because when you have a this is the standard of a project. When you have a project, you have a source folder, and you have a package name, and inside a package you have all of the classes. The same thing for this class is written inside one of the jar files. It must be under a package and under a project, and then inside a project there is a package, and inside a package there is a class is called ChromeDriver. So all you need to know, all you have to do, import the related package for where this ChromeDriver class is written inside the jar files, and then it will have the connection. It will understand, your code will understand, your class will understand when you say ChromeDriver class. It means you are exactly meaning that specific ChromeDriver class which is allocated inside one of the jar files. So let's import the package. You will click on, just all you have to click on import ChromeDriver package. So this one, you will see right away there's one line you will add. It's called import, whatever the package name, org. You don't have to worry about this. This is the package name. Inside this package, this class is allocated up there. Did you able to follow this? Okay, similarly WebDriver, import the WebDriver. You can see the WebDriver, same thing, import the package related to the WebDriver. So now we have a 2 package imported automatically. Now it's all the error are gone, right? So error are gone. Now the interesting parts. Now we have this is our polymorphism relationship as per our Java concept. This is parent class, this is child class, and both of them have the, now if you type driver. So this driver have the knowledge between these two classes and all the methods you have, right? So if you type driver, so if you type this guy, this WebDrivers, it should have able to show you all the methods belongs to these two classes. If you just put the driver dot, you can see all the methods. Close method equals find element, get current, get title, all the get window handles. That's tons of methods. All those methods are, you know, now already written. Comes from where? Comes from these two classes. Where these two classes? Inside those jar classes, jar files, and there it's written everything. All you have to know what this does, what close method does, what equals method does, what find elements method does. All you have to know, and if you know the use case of these methods, all you have to just call them wherever you need. Okay, say example, I want to use get. I'm going to open first open a browser. So we'll see driver dot, one of the method is called get, just get, and you can see what type of data is expecting this method. You have to pass some real life data for, you know, to run those method, to work those method properly. So you can see if I select the get method, inside the bracket it will tell you what type of, you know, data is expecting. It is expecting a string argument. So you have to pass the actual argument or data is type of a string. So get method, what it does, a get method. Now you have to know, as I said, you know, what the method does. Get method, it's help you to launch the URL. So what's your URL? Since it's expect the argument, it means you are passing the data. It's expect you to pass some data which is string type. So if you want to pass any data as a string, it means you have to put the data between these two string sign, right? What's called I forgot that. Oh. So this is the string sign, right? You know it, right? So here you are going to, whatever if you put a data, it will treat as a string data, right? So you can put here. So if you want to go to our website, say example, your first your taxes go to this website, so you copy the URL and paste it there. That's it. This method will launch it. It works to launch any website. What website? You have to pass the actual data as a string. So you know the string sign, double quotations, right? In between the double quotation, if you put anything, it will treat as a string data. So it will launch your website. Let's try to do this. Okay, and there's no error. You save it, Control S, you save it, and then right click, run as Java application. Let's see. Okay, in our console we got an error. Okay, we don't worry about the error. Don't panic when you see error. You know, just, you know, there will be always error. What you have to be just go through the error, try to read the log. You know what type of error, what it's saying. It's saying exception in the thread main. It's saying in your main method, you know, Java lang, illegal statement exception. The path of the driver executable must be set. The path of the driver executable must be set by the WebDriver.ChromeDriver. Where is that? By the WebDriver.ChromeDriver system property. For more information, this is giving you more information. It's saying that. So what you are saying over here? You are saying I have a ChromeDriver class, and you have a. Are you with me, guys? Okay. So you have a WebDriver. So you are saying, hey driver, this is a variable object reference who has a knowledge about all the methods between these two classes, and this method, one of the method get driver, get, you know, this method is launched to the website. You're saying, hey driver, hey driver, launch the website this side, but it didn't do the job because this is just an variable. This is driver, this is an object reference, is a variable who has the knowledge, but somebody have to physically do the job that you are saying over here, right? Somebody have to do the job. This driver is just a driver variable we wrote over here. If you say anything else instead of driver, if you say X, this will do exactly, it will say the same thing, it will do the same job instead of driver. This is just a name. You see the error gone. So people, they give a name, a driver, to make it more sense, because this is working, this variable is working as a driver who is doing to driver. It means who drive the car. So here, who's driving the code, who's going to read the code and do the actual drop, driver. So this is nothing, it's just a, over here in as per code, this is just a variable, it's just written something variable, but you need someone physically who will listen this code, and he will open the browser, push the browser, and will go to find the Chrome browser in your machine, and will open the browser and will go to this website. Somebody have to do it physically. Who is going to do this? That's why it's saying over here, the path of the driver, your error, the path of the driver executable must be set by the WebDriver key WebDriver.ChromeDriver. So it's saying the driver, actual driver who can read this code and work as a physical someone, who has the power to understand the code and do the job as per the code. That's driver's path you have to set, must set. So we have to give the knowledge. Remember that we download the ChromeDriver over here, the ChromeDriver exe file. This is the guy who going to who has the power to understand your code over here, as well as who has the power to talk with Chrome browser and can do the job as per your code. So this driver doesn't have any knowledge over here. In our code we didn't say where this driver. So if your code doesn't have the address, the location where the driver, how there will be make a relation. First of all, you need to make a relationship between your driver and your code, who's going to do the job, and after that you will send some instruction to the driver, and driver will understand and will do the job. Make sense, right? So we have to give the path where that driver is located in your machine, inside your code. That's what it's saying. You have to must set the executable driver executable files location right over here. So to set up, to give the location or information about your ChromeDriver executable files information, Selenium has also code. So what's the code? You have to say system dot, because this is one of the, it is relate the driver is located on your system, right? So you are going to say system. This is the universal code, always is going to be at the beginning of first few lines of your code. System, you are saying hey system, and then there is a method, is called set property. You can see set property, set set property. Set property, there's a very careful when you select the method. You will see sometimes methods, it has a plural, it's called, you can see set properties, another one set property. So you are going to select the set property. This is a one driver, not multiple drivers. So one set property. So you are saying in my system, I have a set property about what set property, a property about what driver. So this is some argument inside this method. This method comes from again Selenium jar file, and it has some argument. It's key and value. You have to pass the actual information, actual data instead of key and instead of value. What is the key? For Selenium, let's go in our node. Are you guys with me? Both of you? Hello? Okay. Because I need to sometimes have to understand that you are okay with this. So give me some shout, okay? So in Selenium, it's for the ChromeDriver. Each and every driver, they have a key and also they have a value. And where those things comes from, these things already given by the Selenium guys when they develop in their Selenium official website. It's already there. From there I already updated, make my node. So here for Selenium each and for the ChromeDriver, for all driver there's a key. The key is this one. For the Chrome, the key is WebDriver.chrome.driver. For FirefoxDriver, the key is WebDriver.gecko.driver. For Internet Explorer, key is WebDriver.ie.driver, and the value would be the path. You can see over here. Here you can see I said set the driver property and its value at the beginning of the test class as below. And what's the syntax? Syntax is that excuse me, you are going to say system dot import the set method, select the set method, and then there's a key, and both are string. You can say string, right? Double quotation, key and value. Here key is the driver property. What is the driver? And value, and the value is the driver path. What is the driver property? Driver property is the, for the Chrome, this is the driver property. For the Gecko driver, this is the or Firefox driver, this is the driver property, and the path value would be the path where that driver is located. You can see this is the path of my a location where the driver is located. So for your case, what would be, so we're going to pass, let's go there. Excuse me. For key, it will be string, right? String, you put the WebDriver. So here WebDriver, you can see there is one more thing, catchy things. WebDriver is all a lowercase. It's not the, because this is a key, this is not the class. So it's it should be exactly this way, WebDriver.chrome.driver. You have to make it remember or memorize. And the value, what is the value? The value, make a double quotation, so because it's a string, both of them is string. Your value would be, find out where your class, your ChromeDriver. Your ChromeDriver is here, right? In your laptops, wherever is there, in your there. So what is the path? So path is if you just select over here, this is the path. So copy this path. This is the root directory of this folder. This is the root directory of this folder. Like for myself, like Selenium work is the folder. Inside this, I have everything including this ChromeDriver. So let's make the path. How we can put the copy this. So after you select, this is the path. So here, paste it there. In Java, when you say a path, you have to make sure you have a double backslash every section, right? Every directory, between the every directory you have a double backslash. But this is not all about the path. This is the path up until this folder. Like what's my last is the Selenium work is a folder, but I need to make sure the ChromeDriver, I need to give the specific path for ChromeDriver. So I'm missing the ChromeDriver one, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say excuse me. Here you can say you can say the ChromeDriver extension.exe, right? So here, what's my double? So last part, it's my this is up to is the folder, and here I need to give the specific path for ChromeDriver. So I will say chro. What's the name? Name is, make sure you write exactly the way it is. Chrome, all lowercase driver, ChromeDriver, Chrome driver dot exe because it is an exe file, right? If you see that, you don't see the with the name, but if you right click, you can see the properties. property, you can see that this is a exe file. So that's why you have to give an extension to make it more specific. So .exe. So now, and this is end of your statement or line. So now you give a set property, the driver information. This is the key of your driver, WebDriver.chrome.driver for ChromeDriver, and this is the path of your ChromeDriver where it's located exactly. Okay, now save it. Now right click, run it. Java application. Let's see. Okay, you can see when you see this, here we go. It is launch, but there is some error is saying local. Okay, what happened? I have to download the right browser, or let me see if I can run here, if it's run or not. Yeah, same thing. See, so I have to update my browser. Update my driver. So what I have to do, I'm going to just rename this. I will give it, just make it 4 other than deleting, and then I will download the latest one, 84. Let's go, and then let's go here, downloads. Where is the downloads? Here, downloads, and then I will go browser, then Chrome, and then I will download. This is the 84 one. Okay, so I need to download this driver. So you have to do, you will see, that's happened probably, a couple of months later, you will see it's not working because your driver is older but your browser gets updated. Okay, so then make sure. So this is one of the also good things that you can see that's things happen frequently. So there is some solution so that you don't have to download manually driver every time, even though your browser gets updated. We'll learn these things later on. There's another method, but for now, just understand the real things. So there is some compatible issue between the driver and browser. You have to make sure you have the right driver for the right version of your browser. So I'm going to move on. Okay, so let's move this guy here. Here, ChromeDriver. Where is the ChromeDriver? Okay, this is the one, and then I will copy this guy. I can copy this. Let's extract here. Okay, ChromeDriver, this is the one. Okay, that should be resolve the problem. Let's go there. Now save it again. Let's run it now. Huh. What? Still it looks like same problem. window. But you guys both have the it's running, right? Java. WebDriver. You see, it's like I have the issue. This version of this is the thing, so say this version of the ChromeDriver only support the version of ChromeDriver only support the, you see, this is the problem, Chrome version, but I did it version 80. So let's run again. So Java. Here we go. Okay, you see, so that's the the magic of the Selenium, that you don't have to do anything, it will do the job for you. So now now you have to know all the methods that for doing the rest of the action, right? So action, it means whatever you need to do for your testing. So example, you want to, so before it's launch, so you want to make sure that your page is maximized, right? So you can say, okay, here after this you put the driver dot you are saying, hey driver manage driver dot manage dot window dot, then you can say maximize. You can see, I mean, whatever you want to do, you will see, the more you are going to study, you will see you are able to do pretty much everything in a web application, and all the activities, all the actions. So you have the methods, related methods. All you have to know the methods and call those methods. So what I want to do, I said, okay, I'm going to make sure the window is maximized. So I said driver, and it has a methods in between these two ChromeDriver over here in these two classes. Manage, I'm saying, hey driver, manage my window. We're saying, hey driver, manage what? Window. I want to manage, I'm saying manage my window. What do you want to do? You want to make it maximize, so make it bigger, right? The full screen. So if you say this, let's run it again, save it, Java application, you will see now your window will be maximized. Open it, is small screen, and then you see it gets maximized. Okay, for doing everything, you want to click on, you want to close it, everything. If you say, so let's close it, and then you say driver dot close. If you say close, it will close your current tab, current window. Okay, active window. Save it, run it again, it will open, and then it will close. Okay, it's closed. You see, it's automatically disappeared. So after your test is done, you can close your window, so that it doesn't kill your resource. It can click anywhere. We'll show that clicking stops more details in next class, but in this class, it can navigate. It can navigate to left and different page, window. It can do it, right? So there's a lot of things. I mean, everything you want to do in automate, pretty much you can do most of the things. 90%, 95% things you can do, and there's a few things that you need some extra support, some extra tools for doing this. So now, what is the things you need to know? Next things you need to know all different methods. What different types of method, and what method does what. That's one thing. And number two, say example, you open this page, and as I said, you click on a radio button, okay, or click on any page, right? Say radio button. So radio button, you wanna select this radio button. So select, it means you just wanna, how you select, you click by your mouse. So how you going to select this radio button? It means in your code, by the code, everything is you are doing by code. So in your code, have to tell that after you go to this page, there is a radio 1, there's a radio button, name is radio 1, and select this one. You have to give the address. Same thing in real life. If you want to come to my home, you have to know where my address, my home's address. If you have the right address, then you can easily come to my home. The way to come may be different. There is a lot of different way to come. You can come by bus, but you have to know the appropriate, the right address. So similarly, same thing, all the elements you have in your website, it's called the web element, radio, but everything's web element. To do any action, it means you want to do something on any one of the web object. On any web object you want to do any action, perform any action, you have to know where that object is located. If you can identify that object uniquely, then you can, and then you pass this address in your code. You say your driver, because a driver is nothing. Driver just listening your code and doing the job one by one, and it will read its capabilities to work the job in this page. From the, it started to read the code from the left, started to read your page from the top left hand corner, as per your code. So if you give the address, unique address for this radio 1 button in your code, driver will follow the address and will come, and then whatever to perform the action, you are going to use some of the methods like we did. So performing action, it means doing something. We have pretty much all different kinds of method. Like for click, we have a click method. We have a right click. We have a for the right click, we have a different kind of method. So for doing anything, typing something, we have a method, right? So for doing any action in your page, we have a method. So method will do, but before that, you have to tell your driver exact unique location for this web object. Now the question is how you can find the web object. Okay, to find the web object, there is a different way that you can find the web object uniquely. Any web element or web object, you can find a different way. What is this way? Here is, you can see, we have covered pretty much all those things. You can see we haven't did anything with the Firefox. I will show the next class with the Firefox Gecko driver. The system is same, process is same. So here is some of the methods. Before I go you about the web object locator, here is some of the methods, the common method, basic methods for WebDriver. There's lots of methods, but those are the more frequently used. Get method to load a new web page. You can see this is the meaning. Find element, find element method help you to find web element as per locator. So those are the, so more you're going to use, our practice, you will get to know. Don't worry that you have to know right there all of them. First, let's see that how you can locate a address or path for a web element. Specifically, this is the one of the most important things. If you give a wrong address, your WebDriver will never able to find that element, and then if it doesn't find the element, it will not able to do the job as you are asking. Then your script will fail. It will say element not found, such element not found, then script will fail, and then your automation will be 0, right? So finding an element is one of the most important things in automation, Selenium automation. So to find a web element, there's a different way that you can, there's a different, every element, it has some properties behind the scene, behind this radio 1. So if you right click and properties, it means it has some HTML code behind the scene when the developer they create this button, and those HTML code at some of the part, it's properties like some of the as a human you have some property, as property like your name is your property, your to identify you, your name is one of the property, name is one property and value is your name. Your color is one of the property, your height is one of the property. This is your as a human being the humans property, and every property have a value. So by your name, by your date of birth, by your height, all those properties we can identify you. Similarly, the web element, to identify any web element, we are going to use some of the properties of that web element. Where those properties allocated? Properties allocated in the HTML page, HTML code. Where this code, all you have to right click on that that element and select the inspect. After you inspect, this page will, you can see this page. You can make it up, you can make it down to see more largely, and you will see this the code will be already highlighted, the object according to the object. Or you can spy, you can spy again. If this is the over here, the arrow, click this one and then select this element again, you will see the the right code, exactly that the code is related with this web element, it will be highlighted here. So this is and when you move your mouse to the code, you will see there's the object is also highlighted. So this is the line or HTML code related to this web element, the radio 1 button, right? Now from here, this line, it's given some of the properties about this object. So one of the object, some of the not all of the properties we can use to locate. There's some specific rules, there's a specific type of properties that we can use in Selenium our code to allocate or to address that radio button. So what are those properties? Here is the list. Usually 8 types of properties we can use to allocate or address any web element. What is the what is of that? It's XPath. XPath is a type of the properties for a web element to address a web element. If it's give you it's a help you. Say sometimes you have a properties, you have a web element here and the code is here, but in a code is not straightforward. The properties is, some of the properties is not obvious, like you have to sometimes to come this web radio button, you have to come you have to traverse from your parents from of the previous line and then come to over here. Okay, so that time you have to use, we'll talk about a little bit more details about XPath later on. More straightforward properties, ID is pretty much if you get a property, it's called ID for any object. Pretty much most of the time ID is the unique one. Okay, ID it's most of the time it's not duplicate. Some of the properties are duplicate, same properties it's given for the different multiple web element. So if like 2 person have the same name, and if I say John, there is a 2 person and both of them name is John. If I say John, so the both of them will confuse which John you mean. So sometimes similarly in a website, in a web element, some of the properties can have duplicate. If you have a duplicate, your WebDriver will get confused which one you mean, which web element. So it will always pick the first one because it's always read the website from the top left hand corner. So you have a one property, say you have a one property for radio button, and same property you have a for radio 3, and your WebDriver started to read the data, and you say using that property select you are saying select this radio 3, but using the same property radio 1 have the same property. So your WebDriver will started to read from the top left hand corner, and it will find the property radio 1 have the same property. It will assume that you meant the radio 1, not radio 3, because it will say okay, first come first serve. So if I find the similar type of property with any web element, I will select this one, I will think this one. So you have to make sure that one, that most of the times you use one of the unique property to allocate any web element. So ID, one of the pretty much 99%, you will say 100%, ID is the pretty much unique property for every element. Very rarely you will find a duplicate, value. I mean, every element, wherever they use the ID, but value would be different. So property and property is value. Just remember that part. Okay, ID is one of the property, but element, the value would be definitely different for the others ID, for others element. So second is name. So name is another property, it will have a value. So name is pretty much also almost unique for every element. Then link text. If you have a text, right? If you have a text, say example, this is a text, LinkedIn profile, and it has a link. If you have a text with a link, so you can, and this kind of property, this kind of web element have a property, it's called link text. We can use a link text and the value of the link text. Then XPath and CSS selector, it's a little bit different. This is not a straightforward property. You'll never find a property name is XPath. You have to create that property. So example, say you go here, example, open window, you want to click this button. So right click, go there. You can see this is my HTML code. Are you following me, guys? I know it's very new to you, but I'm trying to make it slow so that you can understand. And so here is a, I select this, I want to spy, I need to click on this, so I have to locate this object, or open window, this button first. So to locate that, to find the address of this element, I go to, this is the related HTML code. See here, you can see there is a ID. I found the ID. There is some property, the ID, class, one click, those are the property. And property, it means there will be property name equals to some value. Okay, so this is the property and property value. So ID is one of the property. As I said, ID would be my first preference. ID is pretty much unique. So the other element may have the ID, but value would be different. So that's why the value, as long as the value is unique, because we're going to use the value, so as long as the value is unique, we can easily use. And ID is one of the very special property for an web element, which is pretty much 100% is the unique. So so I can easily use this ID property and with this value from here. In a HTML code, I believe you have a little bit idea about the HTML code. Over here, this is called the bracket, the beginning of the line. You can see the bracket is opening bracket, right? It's called tag, right? Opening tag, and between the line you will have opening tag, and at the end there will be closing tag. You can see this is the tag closing. It's a / is the closing, and after the opening tag there is the tag name, whatever it is, like button, input, those are all tag names. So div, this is a tag name, field, this is the tag name, listen, this is the tag name. So your HTML code will, for any specific element, your HTML code will be between a tag name, opening tag and closing tag. And say you can see your button is opening tag and it's a closing button. So this is the closing. So between these two tag, all the code it's related, HTML code related to this, represent this button. Okay, and here couple of more things. So this is the tag and tag name, button is the tag name here, and few more things. If you see there is a parent, in you can see this arrow. You see the arrow, some of the arrow is very towards to the down towards, and some of the arrow in the right side, right arrow. Okay, so right arrow, it means this is the child of this arrow. So it means, say example here, field set. You can see field set is is in a sharp arrow down, and under this field set, under this arrow, if you see more bracket, like this is a bracket at the right side, it's towards the right, those are the child of this field set tag. So you can also see this field set started from here and its closing is underneath here, and between this opening and closing, all the codes, all the tags are belongs to this. So you can say this field set is a parent tag, and this label, the level radio 1, level for radio 2, those are the child of this field set. So your child would be always right side, and underneath the one of the sharp tag, one of the sharp downside tag. So this is because sometimes you have a web element down here. Assume that. Why you need to understand this part, because sometimes you have a element over here, say your HTML tag, but there is no property, there is no direct properties that you can address that web element. That time you need to traverse in your code. You have to go first in the parent one, the parent tag, and from parent to maybe go to those are the child. So if those are the child, they are the sibling. This one, these three, they are sibling. They are sibling, and all these three, consider all these three are fields. This is the parent. So sometimes you need to traverse to uniquely identify one of the element from parents to child, from parents to sibling, then maybe sibling to sibling, or from parents to direct child. So that's why you have to understand, you have to what is the parent of this. Sometimes you need to you can't allocate or address any web element directly. So that time you have to go back to their parents. Sometimes even parents like grandparents, you have to. So for this for this field set, your parent would be, I think, yes, this is the one, this is the parent, this div tag, this is the parent, and it has lots of child, all this child, and every child they have their own you will see own child. So for this child, so this guy, for them, this is the field child, is the parent, and this div, this is the one, is their grandparent, right? So sometimes this is we have to understand, we have to follow this path sometimes to find that any element uniquely. That sometimes happens. So this why finding element sometimes is easy, sometimes it's a little bit challenging, but don't worry, we'll able to learn how to do it manually first from the scratch, and later on there is also tools that can help us to find any elements. But I'm not going to learn the start with the tools at the beginning, otherwise you will not able to learn by your own. Okay, so this is about the locator. So XPath, that time if you need to traverse from parents to child to uniquely identify any object's locator, we have two different formula or syntax, you can say. One is called XPath, another one is called CSS selector. So that's why XPath and CSS selector is not given direct way to write some of the path. This is something you have to create. There is some syntax you have to follow for XPath and CSS selector. Okay, and so I will explain later on in details. To this class I'm not going to make it more longer, but I will give you a video. So example, let's see how I can use some of the direct one. Say example, I said I want to click on here. So this is the open button, this window, so I want to click on there. So the ID, I'm going to use ID, and the value of ID, this, so copy the value. So go back to your code here before you close it. Say now this is one. Okay, click on, so the what I'm going to do, click on open button. Is that open button? Click on open window tab. Click on open window button. Okay, so to do this, I have to say where this button located. So I'm saying driver dot, there is a method to find element. So you can see the find elements already is over here. Find element, not the elements one. Find elements method used for plural. We'll see later on. Right now it's where uniquely finding one element. We'll select this method. Find element, it's help you to find one element using some of the properties we have seen. We're saying driver dot find element. So find element by what? By, if you put by inside a bracket, then dot, then there is a lot more sub method comes up. So what method? The related method. Remember that I said over here, to find an element we are using some of the properties of that element. What the properties? ID, name, those are the direct properties. Link text, class name, those are the direct properties, except the XPath and CSS selector. So you can see here, if you put the by and then dot, you can see all these properties is already here. ID, you can see link text, name, partial link text, tag name, XPath, all the properties is here. Now it thinks what properties you are going to use, it's up to you. So example, I know that I have a ID over here. For this element I have the ID and I have a value of ID, so I can use directly ID these properties and the value. So let's select the ID. I say I'm going to use the ID, and then automatically open this bracket. So pass the the value of ID in a string. This is the value of ID. Okay, so this bracket, so this is the part for the value of ID, and this is the bracket for closing bracket for this part, right? So this is the address. This part is the address where this element is located. And what you want to do after you address is, you want to click on that element. So how to click? Put a dot, then there is a lots of method. You can see, there is a method is called click. Just call this method. That's it. Your driver will follow this locator up to this address, and then up there, if it find that element, it will click on the link. It will click on that button on this element, and by this click method. Let's do it. Save it, run it. Okay, maximize the window. You see, it's click and it's open another window, another side, and it's close that active one because I said close. So it will always close your parent one or this method. That's why sometimes people they use close. There is a difference between close and quit. If you use quit method, it will close all the window. But if you just use the close method, it will close your active window. Okay, so if you go here, if you click on open window, you will see this page supposed to open, and it did by our automation, right? You saw it, right, guys? Right? So that's the way we're going to do that automate. So please, I'm not going to longer our class because I have to again explain because she's not with us. So I would say please go through today's class again and again, and here is the link. Go to the all this notes, and here is the link, our YouTube link for link 1 and link 2. If you go this is the big example using all different locator. I just showed you one of the example. you will see that in my video it shows all the, so this is the one, the in my video it shows all the different locators examples using ID, using a name attribute. It's called also attribute. The properties I'm saying, some people they say it's a attribute too, so don't get confused. The same thing, it's a property. The elements properties, element attribute is the same. It's a name attribute or ID attribute. Here is a using XPath. I explained the XPath, but I will explain in next class. Just go through the video using the CSS selector, using the link text, class name, tag name, okay, all those things. So these examples, it's all covered by give you the initial idea about using different properties or attribute to locate an object, and also different types of method to do some of the action, like click method, like send keys method. You will see send keys is help you to write something in a field. Okay, all you have to just, you're gonna write after you locate it, and then you'll call the send keys. Where is the send keys? I didn't use this send keys. You will see this is one of the element, right? This is the address of the element. It's a field address of the element. Then you call the send keys method, and you write whatever you write is going to be typed up there on that field. Okay, so please go through the video here in our here. If you go to our page, the Selenium YouTube videos, and then in a playlist we have similarly like a Java. Where is the Java? We had a Java, like Java Essential for Selenium. We have Selenium Practice for Beginners. There is a playlist, you need to cover all of them. So go to the Selenium Practice for Beginners, and then you will see the first video. It's related with the locators, different locators in Selenium WebDriver. The use case, how we can use the it's explained by doing the coding, everything. And this is the advanced. It's different techniques, use the advance of the locator, which is locator like XPath, which is not directly given. This is the advanced. You may ignore right now. If you want, you can watch. It's not mandatory, but at least watch this first video, please. Okay, so please watch first 1 or 2 video, at least one, and today's class, and do the practice. There's no alternate without a practice. Even though today's class just one, the class we created, this one, try to play with it, follow this video. In this video I cover all the different locator, using the different locator for the same website. So you can, it's same class, you just play around, follow the video, pause it, and write the code, run it, and see that if it works or not. It's fun. When it works, it's really fun. Is that clear? Make sense? That's yes, radio, it's a little bit different type. So I will explain you. If you go over here, if you open this drop down, the radio, yes, the radio, we're going to use, there is a type, and there is a type you can use. And radio, it's a little bit, that's why it's radio is a little bit different. I will explain you next class. Okay, so you can see example class. If you use the class name, but all the radio button have the same class name. If you see radio 2 class, both are name is same, type is same, radio name is radio button. Only thing, it's a value. Yes, so so that's the difference. Like sometimes, that's why I said some of the properties you will see or attribute, it's a duplicate, so you have to make sure to use the unique one. Okay, so we'll see, we'll cover, don't worry. I mean, in my lecture, in this video, it's cover radio too, but I will explain more in details in next class. I don't want to go too far without her, because and then again I have to do the same class again, and so it's better just go through the video, see that's how much you understand. I don't expect 100%, but whatever, but I want to see that some of your effort that you tried and you saw this, and bring up some questions in next class. Okay, or before the next class, if you have a questions, upload in our group Facebook page. I will try to give you the answer up there if you want to know in advance. Okay, so I would say go first this video. Okay, so pretty much that's all the today's class. I'm giving you the notes. I'm not sure that I give you the notes or you have the notes, but I'm giving you one more time. So so that's all for today.